waves rolling in. Sand is surfing, let the truth begin.
Diving deep where others fear to go. Pro-MAGA fire, putting on a show. Sammy's dancing left and right, he spins. Aloha spirit, that's where it begins.
Hey, hey, Santa, ride that silver wave. Sammy grooving, nothing left to say. Banks are shaking, squeezes feeling tight. First lady shining in a silver dress bride.
Trump's returning, victory inside. Beach broadcast booming every day and night. Aloha joy,
Hold that dream so high.
Aloha, this is Santa Surfing. Welcome to Beach Broadcast. Today, I'm recording this on Monday, March 2nd, 2026. I have a lot to cover. Tomorrow, we are going to have a deep dive locals. So that will be tomorrow at 3:30 East Coast time. And in our locals, it's a community where you can actually engage with those of like minds, deep dive anons and surfers. And then we also talk about things I normally don't put on my podcast. And then I also want to thank you so much for supporting us on X. I have a lot of poser accounts. So to verify any of my poser accounts, go to the links button on my website and you can just verify any of my accounts. I can't post on TikTok yet. I guess my posts are a little bit too much over the top. Okay, I'm posting on YouTube, and then a day later it is coming on Rumble. So there's going to be a 1-day delay on Rumble, but they will be daily on both channels. Okay, so many of us have been doing the Sammy dance. We've been celebrating, and we've been just very excited about all the news that's coming out. This podcast is going to do a little bit of a deep dive on what is really going on in Iran. But while you're doing these dancing, you might be hurting your hips or something like that. So many people are looking for alternatives to acetaminophen, and this is a natural supplement, and it's Pain Absolve. Many of the viewers, surfers, have been using Pain Absolve for years because it works. Natural supplement made here in the United States, has been in business for 25 years, relieves the pain without drowsiness, and even helps heal tendons and tissues. They do have a combo with any of the combo packages. They are giving away a free bottle, and then with any order, they're giving away. They got their stock replenished. Not very many, they said, but they got what replenished, and it is the solar gift. So contact Pain Absolve by downloading the QR code or going to painabsolverxpill.com, or you can go to the sponsor link below. And our show is also sponsored by Meta 247 Now, and they provide ivermectin. Now, if you have any questions about their product, please contact them direct. That you can go to their website by scanning the QR code or going directly here to their website, which is Meta 247 Now. They provide ivermectin 12 milligram pills for as low as $1.75 a pill. Actually, there's another package that's lower than that, but this is the common package that's sold. And then with any order, whether it's the small package, the large package, they are giving away 2 free blister packs, which is 20 additional ivermectin. Meta 247 Now also provides fenbendazole. So contact Meta 247 Now by going and calling 888-749-0261. No form to fill out and no doctor's note is needed. The title of this post is The Iranian People All Around the World, They're Celebrating, but the Iranian regime that's remaining, they want immunity, which equals birds singing, chirp, 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 which equals Obama exposure. President Trump, he gave a update on March 1st, yesterday, on Operation Epic Fury, and I want you to listen carefully. It's only 6 minutes, but listen carefully to what he says.
Over the past 36 hours, the United States and its partners have launched Operation Epic Fury, one of the largest, most complex, most overwhelming military offensives the world has ever seen. Nobody's seen anything like it. We have hit hundreds of targets in Iran, including Revolutionary Guard facilities, Iranian air defense systems. Just now, was announced that we knocked out 9 ships plus their naval building, all in a matter of literally minutes. Iran's formerly supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei, is dead. This wretched and vile man had the blood of hundreds and even thousands of Americans on his hands and was responsible for the slaughter of countless thousands of innocent people all across many countries. Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there. Earlier today, CENTCOM shared the news that 3 U.S. military service members have been killed in action. As one nation, we grieve for the true American patriots who have made the ultimate sacrifice for our nation, even as we continue the righteous mission for which they gave their lives. We pray for the full recovery of the wounded and send our immense love and eternal gratitude to the families of the fallen. And sadly, there will likely be more. Before it ends, that's the way it is. Likely be more, but we'll do everything possible where that won't be the case. But America will avenge their deaths and deliver the most punishing blow to the terrorists who have waged war against basically civilization. They have waged war against civilization itself. Our resolve, and likewise that of Israel, has never been stronger. America is now, again, the richest, most powerful nation in the world by far. But the only reason we enjoy the quality of life that we do and the freedom and security is we have done things that others are unable to do. But it's because of warriors who are willing to lay down their lives to do battle with our enemies. And they do battle better than anybody. An Iranian regime armed with long-range missiles and nuclear weapons would be a dire threat to every American. We cannot allow a nation that raises terrorist armies to possess such weapons that would allow them to extort the world to their evil will. Not going to let it happen. We're not happening to us, and we're not going to let it happen to others. The United States has the strongest military the world has ever seen. I rebuilt our military in my first term. There's never been a military like we possess. And frankly, there's nobody even close, but we are now using that military for good. We want to have it for good purpose. We're undertaking this massive operation not merely to ensure security for our own time and place, but for our children and their children, just as our ancestors have done for us many, many years ago. This is the duty and the burden of a free people. These actions are right and they are necessary to ensure that Americans will never have to face a radical, bloodthirsty terrorist regime armed with nuclear weapons and lots of threats. For almost 50 years, these wicked extremists have been attacking the United States while chanting the slogan, "Death to America," or "Death to Israel," or both. They are the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. We are the world's greatest and most powerful nation, so we can do something about what they do. These intolerable threats will not continue any longer. I once again urge the Revolutionary Guard, the Iranian military, and police to lay down your arms and receive full immunity or face certain death. It will be certain death. Won't be pretty. I call upon all Iranian patriots who yearn for freedom to seize this moment, to be brave, be bold, be heroic, and take back your country. America is with you. I made a promise to you, and I fulfilled that promise. The rest will be up to you, but we'll be there to help. Thank you. God bless you to our incredible warriors, and God bless the United States of America.
And when they were chanting, when Iran, the dirty, evil Iranian regime was chanting death to America, Pete Hegseth has a message for them. He had a presser today, and this is his message to them.
Turns out the regime who chanted death to America and death to Israel was gifted death from America and death from Israel. This is not a so-called regime change war, but the regime sure did change, and the world is better off for it.
Okay, this regime, it's the world is better, the regime is gone. Now, in addition to that, what was just reported, Nick Sortor just reported this, the Pentagon confirms the U.S. military has sunken all 11 Iranian military ships in the Gulf of Oman. 2 days ago, the Iranian regime had 11 ships in the Gulf of Oman, and today they have zero. White House posted this, Operation Epic Fury, and it is President Trump, and he is not messing around. President Trump did have a medal ceremony today. I will get to that later this week, but I want to go ahead and cover, because I want to cover some of the deep dives on what was just going on. So he's offering immunity to anybody in the regime, and it sounds like he's offering it to the thugs out there that are fighting and resisting the regime that has been obliterated, which would be the equivalent of, let's say, Antifa here in America. It sounds like he's offering them immunity. And we know that many of the military there, they hold a lot of secrets, right? The leaders of Iran that are no longer, they're all gone, including the bloodline. They're all gone. Now, they held a lot of secrets, but then did the remaining military that escaped being eliminated hold the secrets as well? President Trump, he had posted this, that there were 9 ships that sank, but now there's a total of 11. So the most recent update is what I just gave you. President Trump on Iran, his first objective, our objectives are clear because he has objectives. We were destroying Iran's missile capabilities, annihilating their navy, ensuring that the world's #1 sponsor of terror can never obtain a nuclear weapon, ensuring that the Iranian regime cannot continue to arm, fund, and direct terrorist armies outside of their borders. So Trump continues to warn the people that the battle continues. Nick Sorto again posted this. It was showing a Kuwaiti man who was helping a U.S. fighter pilot who had ejected from one of the planes. President Trump, remember, he's expecting some more casualties. He understands our military is doing everything they can. Now, again, I'll hang in there with me, guys, because I have a lot more to cover. But here you have this Kuwaiti man who's asking this fighter jet pilot who ejected, "Are you fine?"
You need something to help you? No problem, you're safe. You're safe. Everything good? No problem. Thank you for helping us. Everything perfect?
All 6 American pilots have now been accounted for, which is fantastic. So now the people are celebrating. They're crying with joy. Even I'm crying again. After 47 years of oppression and being targets of crimes against humanity, it's ended. The new Ayatollah, apparently he got installed like a toilet and he got eliminated immediately. That's what the news is saying. Again, guys, I am trying my best to verify a lot of stuff. So if I have to make a correction, I will, but that's what I have been reading. The Iranian people, they're celebrating, and I'm going to show that towards the end. But what's really big are the nations are uniting. Now, this is when the world begins to truly wake up, because President Trump, there was a comment made on YouTube. I want to thank you very much for posting it about this is America first, taking care of our enemies on the outside. Because remember, President Trump, he plays 10, 15, 17D chess. I don't even know if there's a 17D chess. He sees the moves they're going to make ahead of time. He takes care of those 17 steps, works backwards. So I really want to thank you for enlightening. There were a couple of comments about that, about taking care of America first is taking care of all these terrorist regimes. Trump had to time all of this precisely, eliminate the threats from radical, barbaric, tyrannical leaders, neutralize the nation into freedom. Remember, President Trump, when he made peace with Kim Jong-un, who would have thought that any president would ever make peace with a dictator that was running North Korea? North Korea faced their freedom in a way that cannot even ever be explained unless you actually live there. I wouldn't be able to explain it. This is a Q post, March 8th, 2018. It is Q888. It is thank you, Asia. Thank you, Kim, which is Kim Jong-un. Deal made, clowns cut. Clowns out, strings cut, we took control, Iran next. Okay, so now it took 8 years for that to Iran next, Q. Why? Because these were two very, 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 very unsafe countries, nations that had nothing but beyond dictatorship. It was oppression, it was tyrannical, it was social, it was just evil, just crimes against humanity and what they were doing to the people. Now, Kim Jong-un, he was relieved to make this agreement. The people of North Korea, they've lived in similar conditions of Iran, they've had their freedom now for 8 years. Think about that. Since 2018 to now, Q told us Iran was next after North Korea. The difference is rather than eliminating a once dictator, which is Kim Jong-un, President Trump was able to make peace with him. And then he also united both South and North Korea to make peace. That was more than a president. That's a tough negotiator. So June 11, 2018, again, remember, I'm toggling up. This one here is March 8th. And then here we go, June 11th. Does Kim look nervous prior to the big meeting with POTUS? Did they already meet long ago? Again, remember, we were only seeing things on the public eye. Q was hinting that things were already done. Is he preparing at his hotel with his advisors ahead of time? And then right here, deal done, safe, on guard, POTUS moves up departure. Why? The world is safer, Iran developments Q. POTUS moves up departure. Why? Because he's moving. The deep state couldn't keep up with him. Moves and counter moves had to happen. So Loser Barry, he tried to intercept this. So again, that's a June 11th post. 2018, June 12th post, it's 1456. He tried to intercept the meeting between President Trump and Kim Jong-un. Why would that losing piece of garbage do that? Because their 16-year plan to destroy the world failed. And Loser Barry had to live up to his version of pay to play with other nations? Here we have this. Why would you believe Hussein tried to call Kim prior to the summit? He did not have his updated number. 3 North Korea generals release closed the pathway for bad actors. So here Loser Barry's trying to make phone calls and he can't get in touch with him, right? So now, and this is going to all tie into Loser Barry. Iran had nuclear weapons funded by Obama and Clinton. While the world, I'll show a clip in that in just a moment. While the world doesn't realize this, the fake news refuses to admit any of it. The fear of nuclear attack can only be described by anyone that feared the release of it. So imagine the people of Iran that lived with this very irrational, hostile leader, Khamenei, who would, at just the flip of a switch, just release a nuclear missile just because he could. They lived in this fear for 46 years until last year, Operation Midnight Hammer happened, and our country, America, destroyed all of their nuclear sites in Iran. Now, on a smaller scale, in Hawaii, the last 38 minutes, it lasted only 38 minutes, but it was enough fear to just give you a little bit of a reality check. The fear that can only be described by those that lived that moments. At the moment, in my mind, on January 13th, the morning of January 13th, when our phones were blaring with missile attack, and nobody knew really what to do. Nobody knew, because we weren't even informed. They said it was somebody that gave the wrong password out. No, the missile was intercepted. And I'll show you the Q post on that. But 2 months so the 38 minutes doesn't give you enough time to call everybody, say, I love you, God bless you, hang up and call the next person, I love you, hang up. You're just not thinking clearly. So Hawaii really suffered with that. I can't imagine being in Iran, having to live like that for 46 years. North Korea having to live like that for many years, right? Now, President Trump, he just neutralized all of that. This is what Q said about the Hawaii missile. Where did the missile go? Blown up in the sky? And Q answers, F-16s intercepted. Thank you, President Trump. Thank you so much, our military, for saving the lives of the people in Hawaii, because all we could think about was Chernobyl, what would happen then. Remember President Trump, he crossed the DMZ line on June 30th, right? He already worked out a deal with Kim Jong-un. This was a big, big deal, and the news didn't even cover it properly. Only president to ever cross the DMZ. And if you want to click here, it actually takes you to a pretty interesting thread on peace in Iran. Peace. Well, this was posted on after Operation Midnight Hammer, which was mid last year. So all roads lead to Obama. Tom, which is MN Patriot 14, he posted this: arrested a traitor. It's past time. It's Obama sitting in a plane with a bunch of cash. It does lead to, all roads do lead to this horrible, just evil person. So while Loser Barry was the president, he enacted treasonous activity. 2014 news reported that Obama was funding Al-Qaeda. The only news outlet that reported that. Obama admits to training and funding ISIS, the barbaric terrorist group. Trump calls out Obama and Hillary for funding ISIS. All of this is going to be in the clip I show you. And then recently Obama was talking about Hamas, and he says they're horrific. Is he trying to get ahead of the narrative that will absolutely expose him? This is the collection of the clips, guys. And again, all roads lead to Obama. Check this out.
The Obama administration knowingly gave U.S. taxpayer dollars to an al-Qaeda affiliate in Sudan. A joint I-24 News Middle East Forum investigation reveals the U.S. government gave money to a designated global terror entity placed on the U.S. sanctions list over its financial support for Osama bin Laden. The story begins in February 2014. The U.S. Agency for International Development authorizes a grant of nearly $750,000 to World Vision, a Christian charity. The mission? Humanitarian relief for displaced persons in Sudan's war-torn Blue Nile state. World Vision works with a local partner, the Islamic relief agency ISRA. It gets $200,000 from USAID for humanitarian work on the ground. But it's not a simple aid organization. 10 years earlier, ISRA was designated a global terror entity by the administration of George W. Bush, blacklisting the whole global network of the Islamic Africa Relief Agency, aka the Islamic Relief Agency, or ISRA, accused of giving direct financial support to Osama bin Laden and labeled a former affiliate of Maktab al-Khidamat, the precursor of Al-Qaeda. ISRA also accused of serving as a funding conduit for Hamas, raising money for terror attacks in Israel. Check the U.S. sanctions list, and the Islamic Relief Agency is there. Its U.S. assets frozen, any dealings with it a criminal offense. World Vision insists it searched the sanctions list for Islamic relief in Sudan and got no results. It's listed as based in Missouri.
ISIS is honoring President Obama. He is the founder of ISIS. He's the founder of ISIS, okay? He's the founder. He founded ISIS. And I would say the co-founder would be crooked Hillary Clinton.
Month we're speeding up training of ISIL forces, including volunteers from Sunni tribes in Anbar province. That what Hamas did was horrific.
Okay, now you're seeing where this is going. The only news outlet, you don't see that anywhere else. It's somebody that archived that news article, that news report about how Obama funded Al-Qaeda, how Obama funded terrorist organizations and regimes and built regimes and also provided nuclear weapons. President Trump signed that big EO on seizing assets for those that committed human abuse crimes. And right after that, 1 month later, Obama lawyered up. There's news today that Obama had retained 9 attorneys. Well, the real Obama, had already lawyered up back in January of 2018. Today, former President Barack Hussein Obama formally retained counsel. 9 worldwide is how I read that. God bless you all. So did he have to get attorneys in different countries to cover his bases, right? And is the 9 that is being talked about now is that what's going to be coming up. Again, I couldn't get that verified or confirmed, so I'm just sharing this here, that he did already lawyer up. Obama's evil stranglehold was ending, and now that the corrupt Iranian regime was eliminated on February 28, 2026, the floodgates of his crimes will all now get exposed. Now, through immunity, Iranian soldiers and the thugs, let's just say, that are calling on Trump administration to have immunity. That clip I showed you in the very beginning of this podcast, President Trump said they want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. In other words, he's saying they will sing like a bird. This, in order for them to get immunity, they're going to have to cough something up. They're going to say, what secrets do you know? What information do you have? What can you give me a flash drive? We know that President Trump, the White Hats have everything. But again, optics, optics, optics. It has to come out like this. They will start singing like a bird. Barack Obama, loser Barry, hasn't tweeted anything. Hillary Clinton haven't posted anything about the awesome strike and how President Trump took out terrorist regime leaders, guys. Nothing was posted by them. Not even bashing Trump. Not that we want them to, but these people, Obama, Clinton's, Bush, Brennan, Clapper, Rice, Yates, so many more that the Anons have been digging on, they are very, 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 very scared right now. So President Trump, in this clip, I'm going to play this part again. President Trump, he had talked about 2 weeks as well. When he mentioned 2 weeks, it was like, okay, I've listened to that 3 or 4 times. Is he giving us that 2-week notice again? Check this.
Last night, all over Iran, the voices of the Iranian people could be heard cheering and celebrating in the streets when his death was announced. The entire military command is gone as well, and many of them want to surrender into saving their lives. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. They want immunity. They're calling by the thousands. Combat operations continue at this time in full force, and they will continue until all of our objectives are achieved. We have very strong objectives. They could have done something 2 weeks ago, but they just couldn't get there.
So now they're all coming to President Trump and they're saying, we want immunity. And then President Trump said they could have done something 2 weeks ago. Well, okay, 2 weeks ago, I'm thinking, is he just giving us a time frame 2 weeks? Because this isn't over yet. There's still going to be work to be done. This is a Delta on February 9th. That was the Board of Peace. On that week, it was the Board of Peace, Andrew arrested, Epstein fallout. The following week was the State of the Union, which was last week, Iranian strike. And then we're now into this week. So that would be this week, and then this week, suicide weekend. Is that what President Trump is referring to? Again, 2 weeks from yesterday would put us at March 15th, March Madness. Public will know soon. Q, again, March 15th, Delta, extreme efforts to kill login devices, extreme efforts to censor, extreme efforts, dead cat bounce, meaning, will we have a financial situation happen, which I did promise you I would talk about something, so I will in just a second. Enjoy the show. Bring the rain. Let me go ahead and show you this information. About the IRS, I gave a little hint about that in yesterday's podcast. The Treasury Department terminated its collective bargaining agreement with unionized workers employed at the IRS. Navajo 808 says, Grok, who was their union NTEU? The union for those at the IRS, the Bureau of Fiscal Workers in the National Treasury Employees Union. Treasury terminated their agreement Friday on the 28th, citing 2025 executive order on federal workforce policy. The union represents 150,000 Treasury employees. This shouldn't have made headlines, but instead it was the Iranian news. Again, we know President Trump, he's got a lot of moving parts, so he's taking care of freeing the people of a nation. But this is what's going on. The title of this headline from Newsmax is Treasury Ends IRS Fiscal Service Union Deals. Listen to this interview with Schmidt and with Besant.
Jerome Powell under criminal investigation, lying to Congress about the cost of the Federal Reserve renovations. Even a lot of people that support the president think this feels somewhat retaliatory. Tell us why it's not, the investigation into Chair Powell.
Well, a couple of things here, Rob. The Federal Reserve occupies a unique spot in the American governmental process. They have no supervision, they have no accountability, and I think that we will look at this and think that a couple of things on Chair Powell's watch. The Fed is now losing $100 billion a year, $100 billion with no accountability.
Yeah.
We had the worst inflation in 49 years, and we'll see what the tally ends up being, but very good chance that we will have had ethics violations over the past 4 to 6 of the regional presidents or governors, and there needs to be some accountability.
So it's an investigation. We'll leave it at that. The Treasury Secretary, Scott Bessent. Hey, thank
Sure sounds like Scott Bessent sure verified you, all of us, the surfers and anons, about the Federal Reserve has a unique spot. Didn't say they're a federal agency. It says they have a unique spot. There's no oversight. Nobody, they don't really, they're on their own. And so he's in his own indirect way verifying everything you and I have been talking about. And then he's also talking about how they are losing $100 billion a year. And then when he was talking about ethics violations for the governors, remember we have new governors that are going to be in place, or they should be in place by now, to run the Federal Reserve, which would be ultimately the Trump Treasury. So if we don't have an IRS, will it be the External Revenue Service that starts to come into play? And will the IRS will then be gone? Yes, many of you may say, well, I still owe money to the IRS. I still have the IRS calling on me. In my humble opinion, it will be when it gets formally announced is when the IRS is, bye-bye, gonzo. But let me get back on, I really went squirrel on this here, guys, but I did promise you this, so that's what I wanted to share. Is that when the dead cat bounces in the markets, right? There's other financial news that was coming out about the central banks of Iran, so let's see how it all plays out. Then also, March 15th is boom, boom, boom. Again, guys, I share these Q posts because they are becoming reality. Or posted what Pete Hegseth said about he is reiterating President Trump says the big wave of strikes on Iran haven't even happened yet. We haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon.
It's not safe out there. And then the president said it's about to get even less safe. He said, quote, we haven't even started hitting them hard. The big wave hasn't even happened. The big one is coming soon.
Let's think outside the box, guys. Who is this going to, where and what country, what leader, former leader is this going to expose? I believe, in my humble opinion, President Trump is hinting Obama. Waves have ripple effects, right? So is that what Pete Hegseth is hinting? Is that what he's trying to say, right? The Iranian people, they're all around the world. They continue to celebrate. Now, this is a clip. I brought tears to my eyes, and it's about how the people were asking for the help from President Trump, and then they end up celebrating. But while the people around the world, they celebrate, we have to still be prepared for here, because let's say if and when the Obama truth starts to come out, the mass hysteria here in America, because there are still people that believe he's the greatest president ever, which in fact he was the dirtiest. Obama regime minions will be out in full force. They'll be in complete disbelief. The media won't really say anything. They will just stay silent unless they come around and they start to say, Obama did this. Obama funded and trained ISIS. Obama funded and trained the terrorist regimes, not just organizations, but the regime itself. Anons and surfers, we just need to be ready. That's all I could say is President Trump, I think he's giving a warning, not just to the world, but he's giving warning to the Anons and surfers that we really, really, really need to be ready for what is to come. When we're bringing in freedom, there's going to be a big fight. When they're bringing in greatness and prosperity, there's going to be a big fight. Whatever is left in these dirty cabal regimes, that's what's remaining. But let's just see how it all plays out. But we all have each other, and more importantly, we have God. So thanks so much for listening to this podcast. I'm going to close with this clip right here, and it is about how the whole world can begin to dance and unite as one. God bless you abundantly. Thanks for listening to this podcast and sharing the podcast, and I will have another show very soon. Aloha.
You, Trump. You can't imagine how we are appreciate our country, our people. I'm really appreciate. We love you.
Thank you, Mr. President Trump. God bless you. God bless America. Thank you, Mr. President. Dear Mr. President Trump.
Trump kill Khamenei. I'm so happy. Thanks, Trump. Thanks, Trump. You are the best man in the world. I love you, Trump.
I want to have a big thanks to President Trump for keeping his promise and freeing people of Iran that has nothing to do with this government, with this terrorist government.
Love you.